you create a template that defines the job and when the job will be created. And that job will then punch out lots and lots of copies of the same job on the dates that you've specified. So here are the jobs at the bottom, and this is the template that created those jobs. So let's look at how we create those actual templates. So I've already done everything about this booking that I need to do. So I've put in the people, the addresses, I've set the account and the charges, so all of that's completed. And I've set my alerts, fleet and everything. I've even allocated my driver, and in this case I've got a PA on this run, so they're all done as well. And now I want to do the bit that will convert this from being just a single one-off booking to a regular booking. So I need to find the option at the top that says regular job templates and click that, and that will take me through to this screen. So the first thing I'm going to do is give this template a name. I like to add something to indicate whether it's a morning or an afternoon run. If it's to do with school runs, it could be a run code, anything you like in there. It has to be unique though. I can set whether it's active or inactive, and I want to be using this straight away, so I'm going to leave it as active. And then I can set a window for these jobs to be booked in. And so I've got a start date, which it defaults to today. I can set that to be in the future if I wanted, and I can set an end date. So at the moment, this will carry on going forever, but maybe I just want to do it for a month. So I could easily just set a stop date there. Now, bearing in mind that this template is just going to stamp jobs out on the days that I mark here, we need to give it the pickup time for each of those days. So I can go through and select which days I want. So I'm just going to go through Monday to Friday, and then I can just choose a time that I want these jobs to be for the pickups. So I'm just going to go for an 8 o'clock pickup, the same on every day. These obviously could be different on each day if you needed them. Now over here is a really powerful feature, this exclusion section. So obviously I've got a start and an end date, and I'm just saying which days these jobs are going to fire out on. Now between that start and the end date, there are going to be some bank holidays and some school holidays and all kinds of stuff going on. So we don't want those jobs to fire out on those times or on those particular dates. So what I can do is I can set an exclusion calendar. Now if I use this one, it's just for this template. So I could go in here and I can maybe set in, I don't want it to fire throughout those dates, and I can set individual dates, training days and bank holidays or whatever. So once I've marked all those days, I can save that. And now the template will fire out those jobs on these days at these times, except for the dates that I've said in that calendar. Well, that's fine, but what happens if I've got lots and lots of runs all associated to the same organisation, like a school, and every single calendar is going to be the same? So here I can create a calendar that I share amongst all of those different templates. So I've got various options here. Well, I've created them in the past. And this shared calendar, there's nothing on this one at the moment, but if there were exclusion days on this, these would be shared throughout all of the templates that use that particular calendar. So that's a nice quick way to be able to sort out your exclusion date. So I set those calendars up in the admin program here in the calendars tab. So I've got a couple of options on the filter, all active calendars and all calendars. I know I don't currently have any active calendars, so I'm going to make a new one. And I'm going to right click and click new exclusion calendar. Now the trick is to choose one from this list with the same name, and basically what that will do is it will automatically flip over when it gets to the year end. So I'm going to go for Cordic Academy. We've got the date here for 2024, so I'm going to OK that. I'll just mark in a few random dates to exclude them. OK, that's fine. I've done my 2024 calendar, but what happens at January the 1st? So I need to create a calendar for next year, and I need to make sure it's got exactly the same name. So we're going for Cordic Academy in this instance. And again, I'll just mark in a few random dates. Obviously, yours would be a bit more specific than this. Now, what will happen on the 31st of December in 2024, the Cordic Academy calendar for 2024 will expire, and it will start to look straight into the 2025 calendar without you having to do anything on the date. So basically, when you're setting up your school runs, for example, in September or in August, you want to be creating the calendar for the year that you're in and the one for the following year, so that that flip over is nice and seamless. So just a couple of things on this template to mention. There's an assistant credit override here. So you'll normally assistant credit through a setting on the job type. Now, if you want to do something different to the job type that you've selected with this template, you can choose a different template here, different PA payment template here. Now, to be honest, not many people are doing that, because basically what they're doing is they're just pricing the PA payments manually, until at some point when we do a feature that will link the payment to a PA rather than link the payment to the job. So at the moment it's more of a manual process anyway, so you're probably not going to need to use this. There is another option at the top here for auto completing. That's probably going to get used less and less now as the requirement for tracking jobs is more prevalent. So basically what autocomplete does is, when the job is stamped out from the template, so let's just say we have a window and we're booking jobs maybe five days in advance, 7 days in advance, or it could be a whole term in advance. What happens with autocomplete is, as soon as the job is booked, instead of sitting on the queue waiting to be dispatched, it just gets completed. And the reason for that is it was designed for some fleets that basically have one driver doing the school run, and that driver knows when that run is going to be done. They don't need a PA, they will just turn up and pick up the kid. They're not worrying about tracking, they're not worrying about any kind of monitoring of those jobs. And so basically the job is allocated to the driver, the job gets completed as soon as it's booked, and the driver just gets paid. So there's a lot of assumptions in there. It's not something I would recommend, but it does serve a purpose. So we've filled out the template, we've done all the details in the booking, so I'm going to OK the template, and I'm going to save this job. Now, what we can do now is go through to the regular bookings template tab and click on all regular job templates. So that will show me a list of all the active ones. And I've got a search button as well. Remember, ours was called Neil Out, or AM, and there it is. Now, there's a few useful tools that I can do with this. So I can look at the template, so that's just going to open the template in at the top. But I can look at the upcoming template jobs. So if I click on that, what you'll see now is we open the job screen, and it gives me a list of all the jobs that are booked from that template. Now, you can see here there's only 14 jobs, and the reason for that is because there's a window into the future in which the template can book the jobs. And just out of interest, that is controlled by this red system parameter here. It's called the regular booking horizon. So it's saying from today, 21 days from today, that's the limit from which the regular job template can book jobs. It can't book jobs any further into the future than 21 days. You can set that to be a whole year or whatever you want if you want to book everything in advance. The advantages in that, it means that you can look at all of your bookings. You could perhaps do some reporting in the future. You could perhaps manage some of those jobs if you get advance notice that far. But to be honest, there's probably not much point in booking things more than like a few weeks in advance, because things change so much. But it's entirely up to you. So it's a red parameter. You'll have to ask support to get that altered, but that's what that parameter does. A couple of other useful features on this filter is the ability to view upcoming jobs on a specific day. So not every template fires out every single day, so you might have some days that are busier than other days, so it's quite useful to be able to look at a specific day and have a look for the jobs booked from this template on that day, or you can look at all templates on that day, so you can look at every single job that's being booked by your regular job templates on a particular day. So it's just a case of highlighting that and choosing the day in the calendar.